Hey guys, just got done with episode 1 of season 2. We had Frank Morrison and Chris Novak. Super awesome podcast. Frank really drops a bomb telling his story about getting lost in the ocean for 54 hours with only the bow of his boat sticking out of the water. Just wanted to make an announcement on what I'm going to do on this episode. If you guys want to hop on the podcast, let me know. Next week, I got Chesapeake Cheech and Chong, also known as Javi and Chazzy Hernandez. After that, we have Brad Foxwell, Dave McCollum as verbal commits, and a gentleman named Grant Morris coming on to talk about his charity tournament. So really looking forward to the season so far. If you guys want to hop on, let me know.
Setting the shock treatments up.
That's what the headphones are.
I've been in so many hospitals, hooked up to so many machines and so many times.
Frank's getting nervous.
What's going on? If it shocks me, I'm gonna be pissed.
All right, we're recording.
All right.
First episode of season 2 on the EastWindFishing podcast.
Nice.
Gotta say it, thank you, Jesus.
So I got Frank Morrison, right? Frank Morrison
Yes,
or Frank
sir.
Morris?
Frankie Fish.
Frankie Fish, and I got Chris Novak, who was the superstar from season 1, coming out and telling us his life story. Thank you guys for coming on short notice. I appreciate
Thank you.
that. We had a guy cancel. He'll be here next week. Chazzy, get your shit together.
Yeah, Chazzy.
So go ahead, guys. Introduce yourselves. Give a little brief how you got into fishing
Synopsis.
story.
My name is Frank Morris, and I'm an alcoholic. You gotta start it off. I don't know, man. That was my thing. Grew up around the water back in Essex, and I learned at a very young age. My dad would take me out, man. It was just a passion I had, and every weekend, my mom and my dad were split up, and every weekend I'd be with my dad. He'd be instilled his passion on me, and I just fell in love. I'd wake up on the weekend, Saturday morning. He's like, "You ready?" Man, I was already suited up, ready to rock and roll, and it just ain't never stopped. Quick thing, every time I lived right by the water, right on South Maryland Avenue, and I learned, I was bad. I got really, really bad when I was growing up. So I know every time I would get thrown out of school, that my dad, I would bug him so much. I'd say, "Dad, can I go fishing?" He'd let me go fishing. So I kind of put those two together, So I would get suspended, expelled, so I could go fishing all the time. I think I had it made. Oh, I was in trouble.
So you would use one of those cameras. Damn it. One of them just blipped out. I knew it. That's why I set up 3 cameras. So you would use fishing as like a cover to go do shit to get in trouble.
Yeah. I got in trouble to go do what I wanted to do. I ran my whole life like that. That's where we're going to get into all that good stuff.
All right, Chris, we had you season 1, but go ahead and introduce yourself.
That's right.
I know this feels like a meeting to you guys.
Yeah.
I'm Chris. I'm an addict.
Hey, Chris.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, me too. I started early. Started fishing early, and we would go. I grew up on a reservoir. We would go in the woods and go fishing. My mom, she knew where I was, and it was good because I was, I was out fishing and I wasn't getting into trouble. And then I started realizing that I could use that to go in the woods and do what I wanted to do. So, I would go fishing and I would be drinking, or I'd go fishing and we were getting high in the woods or whatever. But throughout my life, like it's always been one thing that's been calming for me. I've always met so many nice people through fishing, and it's become everything. As Frank knows well too, and Matt, you too, and it's my life. Like I work, but I work so that I can so I can take some time off and go fishing. Like,
Yeah, it's a real problem.
it's definitely a problem. This is a new meeting.
Yeah. So this podcast, I kind of figured out season 1, and I'm still constantly working on this thing and trying to figure out what to do with it. So we've all met through fishing, but I don't care what we talk about. We can take it in a million different directions. I always like to bring it back to fishing because it's on a fishing channel and all that good stuff. But
My life is fishing.
yeah, and
It all revolved around fish.
Is exactly
Fish 5 days a week and work
Yeah,
a day.
but what I didn't want this podcast to be was like, and I'm not down or not talking bad about other podcasts. Like I said this in season 1. you know, I don't want to hold up this lure and go like, this is my favorite lure. I use it here. Like we all know that. You know,
Whatever catches a fish is my
yeah,
favorite.
Yeah, exactly. No, I wanted to get people together, meet people, network. Let's tell some good stories. Usually drink some beer.
Ain't happening. You don't want me drinking beer. I'll burn this house down.
Not on this podcast, but not on this episode per se.
Well, I made the news many a times. I was on some kind of different podcast, but news.
The original podcast.
Many a time. Oh god.
So I guess just because it's fresh and it came out last week, what do you guys think about the regulations this year? Have you guys read them? Number one,
I have
honestly,
not.
I don't follow them anyway. I just fish.
yeah.
So I don't stop.
So they're exactly what they were last year, which angers me, you know. And then I did a little bit of digging. I'm like, before I talk about this, I'll educate myself. And really, what it came down to, God, my mic's hot. Hang tight.
Thought it was just me.
Hot mic.
Just me.
Check 1 2. Episode 1 adjustments. So really what it came down to, you know, I educated myself on it, and I'm seeing all the different types of fish go up and down. And I'm going like, maybe these studies are off. I mean, who really knows? But it looks like there was a spike. And see, I wasn't fishing for striper in 2012 and 2013. Were you guys? Were you?
I don't stop.
I mean, but you were targeting striper in 2012 and 2013. And do you remember those being good years?
I don't like watching news and all the drama. I just go fish.
Yeah.
Majority of the time, I don't keep anything anyway.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I was just, you know, I have nothing to compare it to from these days.
Right.
All I've seen, you know, I started targeting stripers and obsessively, stripers, cobia, reds, all that good stuff. But, you know, usually stripers, because that's usually the most accessible to us, just a couple years ago. And it has gone down, even in just the 3 or 4 years since I've started with my own boat, you know, light tackle fishing. And I don't know what's going to change it. But I'll tell you what, you know, the definition of insanity?
yeah,
Doing the same thing.
Doing the
over
same
and
thing
over and
over and over and expecting different results.
Right.
And then, you know, I don't want to get too much in the social media aspect, but I saw somebody the other day post like, you know, think about how many cormorants eat fish. And I'm like, that should have nothing
Right.
to do
Right.
with anyone's mindset on how many fish are taken each year. You know, how many cormorants eat yellow perch fingerlings. I'm like, well, they're trying to survive.
Right.
We're going out and having fun.
catch and release, man. I mean,
Yeah.
That's where I'm with it too. You know,
Yeah. I mean,
I never was. You know, Steve and I were never like that. We went out like we were thrilled to catch a fish, right? And we would keep whatever we could keep, and so we never really followed. Like we followed the guidelines, but we didn't think about it. You know. Then we started catching fish, like tackle fish. You know, and how much fun we were having, and you know, we're catch and release now. We don't keep. I don't think we kept a single fish last year.
Admittedly, I wasn't always of the mindset that I am now about, you know, serious catch and release, and it sounds like Frank too.
Yeah.
You know, and I know early Steve and Chris, and you guys were exactly like me.
Yeah.
You know, we would go catch perch, we'd throw them on a hook, or I mean, you guys were using spot or whatever, and then, you know, we would catch, and the whole point, to my knowledge, was to, you know, let's limit out.
Right.
You know, and that was the brag, and now it's totally different. It's the brag is a safe release. You know, guys don't want videos now, or not. We don't really necessarily need the video of holding up the giant fish,
Right.
but the release is the coolest
Right.
picture and video, and that's kind of where I get my rocks off.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
You know?
I like my pictures.
No, I mean we all like our pictures. We obviously, but you know the coolest part of everything to me is seeing that fish swim away, whether it be a red. I can't say I release too many cobia. Well, I don't catch that many cobia
Right, well,
either.
yeah.
You know, I mean cobia. You know, I grind it out for days, and you get a couple, and you obviously get the picture. But that meat, I don't know if my wife would let me home if I wasn't bringing cobia meat after a 5-day trip. So what are you guys excited about for the upcoming year, 2022?
Florida.
Well, that's the next step in 2022. What's your goals this year, Frank?
Goals
Yeah.
in fishing or life?
Let's either.
Both.
Goal. I mean, I got so many things going on this year. You know, about to buy my first home. You know, I come from nothing, so to be where I'm at today, it was a long, rough road. I mean, you know, we could start that now, or
We can sprinkle all that kind of stuff.
it was.
You're in your
this
business
year-
now, don't you?
Yeah. It's been what 5 years. I mean, I've been in the business for, oh my goodness, throughout my whole addiction and everything, I've done home improvement. Everything you can throw at me, I've done, and I can do pretty much. But, through my recovery, I've asked God to give me a passion other than fishing, to make a career out of. And I used to hate painting, and that's the business that God's given me today. It's just amazing. I'm like, I hated it. But I still have both my passions, and I can do both of them. Yeah. And I can do the one to make the career out of, and I get to fish pretty much every
whenever
day.
he wants
you fish whenever you want to. I'm envious of that, for sure.
I mean, if I wanted to, God's blessed me, with a lot. So I can fish darn near every day.
Perfect example. I had that tournament last year, and you and Steve are out fishing on, every weekday. I'm like, well, son of a bitch. I thought, people who don't own their own companies, that's next year's rule.
They're like, hey, you want to get in this with me? I'm like, yeah, can we fish every day? I think you went to work.
I went to one day.
Yeah,
we don't want to talk about
it. It worked
that
out pretty good for me.
Yeah, you
sure
won
did,
it.
didn't
it? That's right.
Yep.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things going on this year, man. I've learned a lot of new waters, and me having a smaller boat, I'm going up north now, and I'm covered in the areas that I go, and I got 18-foot Alumacraft, so everything is on there I need. But man, I don't give out too much stuff, but I got the new things dialed in that a bunch of new friends, from networking, fishing, and just awesome people, that know the fishery that I'm going at, and we share that passion like all of us do, fishing, life. Fishing brings me alive. It just.
Well, you're very. I don't know you that well, but I can tell you're passionate about fishing. You're very passionate on Facebook about it. Every post is just, "Hey, it's Frankie Fisher over here." We're like, Jesus.
I just love getting it in, man. Matter of fact, one of the things early on, I grew up in Armstead and Essex. Armstead Gardens in Essex.
Where's Armstead?
Right, you know where the Gold Club is on Route 40?
No. I've only been to one strip club in my life.
Oh, you knew it was a strip club, though. That's that Gold Club.
Yeah, the Gold Club is a strip club, isn't it?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, I knew it was a strip club.
Well, there's a neighborhood right across the street. I grew up right there. Right before you get into like Hollandtown. What is that? Yeah, Hollandtown area. But my mom, at young age, I'd be fishing with my dad on the weekends, and if I was at the other opposite weekends, I'd be at my mom's house, and where the incinerator is down in Baltimore. She'd wake up. I'm gone at 5 a.m. I'm 10 years old. I go steal a can of corn and take my gear, and I'm walking the creek all day long. And that's how it started. I was able to do and run anywhere I wanted to go. And a couple rainstorms, I'm sitting in the middle of the street with a fishing rod. I think my mom said I was like 5 years old or something.
Did you catch anything?
Yeah, cold. It's freezing and raining.
You were fishing puddles or like
just we're on a hill, and we're in row homes, and the water's just running down the hill, and I'm just there. I am sitting in the middle.
Yeah, look at this current.
Yeah, boy.
Current plus structure.
Fish on. Just hope something would just drift by and get hooked up.
Have you seen those videos of like spillway fishing?
Yes.
Dude, I get stuck in those wormholes every once in a while, like spillway monsters. My buddy, who's not even that into fishing, like almost not into fishing at all, fucking loves spillway monster videos. And some of them are so dumb that you sit there for the whole episode and the guy pulls a perch out of there. My favorite one ever was these guys were throwing this like. Speaking of the guys, the spillway monster guy broke my own rule about the phone. Now this dude was like throwing like a duck with these little wings going like this, but the duck was about that big. He got a bass about the size of the duck, but I'm like, man, it's just crazy what these people catch in the sewers.
Carp, all the shad and all that stuff, because I think it was Herring Run that ran through that was the main creek or whatever that I would fish. The stuff that I would pull out of there. I'd run out of bait and just using. I made stuff work, styrofoam. I didn't care what it was. And I catch little, always started with the little fish and then little minnows. And then you're catching, there was bass, there was everything. And I don't know what's down there now,
it's not fish.
Dead bodies and everything else. But, oh man, I just want to go, I'm ready to go fishing now.
I literally,
I'm just, everybody's like, everything's frozen. I'm like, ah.
I get home from work every day. I got little fishing spots around here. I live right on the water. I've been driving up every day to Northeast Park to see if the ice is melted, and every once in a while there'll be like a little channel that the bubblers have, the boat docks have the bubblers, little channel, and then I'll get ballsy, I'll go out there and cast, and then I get caught up on the ice and I say fuck this, I'm out. It's like a daily thing.
Well, if you go down, I was telling you earlier, if you go down by me, I'm not saying the areas, but a good buddy of mine, Tim, had showed me. I know that I've fished the area, but then doing it as half ice fishing, half bank fishing. You break 10-foot 2x4 and break the edges off, and you walk the edge all the way around. And by the time you come back, push the ice underneath. And by the time you get back to the first, all that disturbance, all the fish, have settled, and then start fishing it and just jigging, top and bottom, double rig, panfish assassins, and just crush the yellow perch.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had it where as soon as it gets cold, as soon as it starts freezing, I know the fish are just there.
Yeah.
And they're always there.
Every morning the past week, he's had pictures of him and yellow perch up there.
Did you go perch fishing today, or was that from yesterday?
I plead the fifth. I tell everybody, you never know.
Yeah.
It could be today. Majority of the time, usually it is.
Well, that's what I tell everyone about yellow perch. Like, when does the season start? I said, when it gets too fucking cold to be outside, like to where you can't stand it, and when you can only reach your hand in the bucket a minute so many times before you have to go home, it's yellow perch fishing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's cool. Yellow perch fishing is cool and everything. It just passes time until the bigger fish season comes along.
Crappie, perch. I mean, as soon as I can't get the boat in, it's good to me. Like, I have an aluminum boat, so I can break through it. We didn't have much last year, but
did we have any last year? Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, I mean, the last 2 years, especially 2 years ago, was like it didn't get below 40 all year. I mean, I was out there in a kayak, in 40-degree water fishing. It was stupid. I don't do that shit anymore. I almost died. I had a trolling motor on the back of my kayak. I bought like a trolling motor from some dude up in PA, or I bought a kayak, and when I got a little $100 trolling motor from Walmart, put it on the back, hooked up all these cables so I could steer with my feet. And I'm out there in Perryville fishing, which is a pretty good yellow perch spot. I won't give away the exact coordinates. I mean, it's no secret. Everyone fishes Perryville.
It's wet.
Yeah, exactly. It's wet. But I'm right on a ledge where it goes from like 80 to 20, but I'm more on the 80 side with the current. And I had an anchor out, which is even dumber in the wintertime, with a trolling motor and a kayak. So the throttle to my kayak was like down here. So I accidentally hit the throttle of the kayak. The anchor is stuck because it always gets stuck there. There's so much rocks and structure. I'm sitting there doing 360s. It's actually how I met the sheriff of Cecil County. He
I might know him.
he's actually a really good guy. It's actually how I met him. I don't even know if he saw that, but he pulled up and I was wearing like my bibs, and he's like, "Dude, what are you doing?" He's like, "It's 40 degrees out, or the water's 40 degrees. You're wearing bibs. It's 80 foot of water." He goes, "You spill, you're dead." And I'm like, I know, I'm crazy, man. But dude, that scared me. Legitimately scared me. Like, because your kayak's like this. It's held by the rope, and you're just doing circles, and it takes a minute to realize what's going on. I mean, if I went in, I was screwed. And the other time I got screwed out there on a kayak, the side of this kayaks have like little rubber bands you hang your paddles on. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there fishing, reeling a little tiny perch or whatever, and next thing I hear is like a psst. I'm like, and the dam's got all that current coming. I'm anchored once again, being stupid, and my paddle just dam gates are open or floodgates are open, so my paddle starts going like way downstream. I can't do anything. I'm in the middle of the water. So I just start screaming like a little bitch, like, "Help! Help!" And finally a dude was like, he's like holding his hands up looking at me, and I'm pointing to my paddle. My paddle's so far away you can't see it. So he thinks I'm like calling out a fishing spot or something. And he pulled up to me. I was like, "My paddle's out there." And he's like, "Ugh." Like rolled his. He went and helped. He went and helped me out, and I ended up giving him my fish that day. Because I was slaying it, apparently he wasn't.
That was nice of you.
I said, "Go ahead and take." Well, he also saved my life, potentially. It was I should have been at the ramp. It was getting, or it pretty much was dark at that point. So yeah, I don't go kayak fishing anymore in the winter. It's just dumb, not worth it.
You talk about spinning around. We were just talking about the Minn Kota getting if you don't update your software.
Yeah.
That just took me back. I almost threw my son off the boat. He had his life jacket on. He did. But yeah, it just kept spinning around, and I had to find out, call Humminbird, or I was calling everybody trying to figure out what was going on, Minn Kota, and they said, yeah, just update the software, simple fix, that again, just every time I get on the boat now, since learn from our mistakes.
Update it.
Not the definition of insanity, we'll keep on doing that, but yeah, just check and make sure there's no updates, available. And you talk about dying on boats. Oh man, there's been several times.
Well, we'll get to that story. There's certainly one story that I want to hear. And
There's
Are
a
you
lot
done?
more.
Are you done, Frank?
Oh no.
Is it my goal? My goals for the year
Never
yet? Jesus.
Don't give a drunk a microphone. Here we go.
all right, Chris, you go, buddy. What's your goals?
Goals for the year.
So I got goals too.
Kobe.
so-
Kobe is definitely a goal.
You
for
haven't
the
got
year.
a Kobe yet, have you?
No. Nope.
You have a 6-foot houndfish.
We
Was
went.
that Chad?
Well, Chazzy hooked it.
Yeah.
He's
You-
like,
you
here,
got-
take it. He thought it was. Why are we stopping?
Was I driving or was I
Yes,
up top?
you were, because he was up top.
Oh,
Because he cast it like over his shoulder.
That's right. Yeah, he yelled for me to
He
stop
said,
it.
you said, is it a cobia? He said, no. It's like, why are we stopping then?
I haven't even
6 foot
got a Cobia.
houndfish. It was
Yeah.
big.
I need one of them too.
Well,
this
so
year.
so yeah, so that I would like to get into a big school reds. We got into one last year, and that was pretty cool seeing that. It's like the gold color of the water and like all these fish all over the place.
Have you ever
and-
seen it or no?
Yeah, we did that one time. And we were like, we said, hey Matt, what are we looking for? He said, you're looking for like gold. The waters are like gold, different
Smell
color.
it.
I said, are you ever gonna what about splashing? He said, you're never gonna see splashing. Next thing you know, we see splashing. We're like, are you sure about that?
It was
'Cause-
that time of year that you
Yeah.
weren't supposed to see splashing. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
I don't,
it was
without giving the game away, it wasn't
it was a
a
lot.
top water time of year.
no, yeah, but it was a lot. Caught one there, and then later in the day, I
That was
caught
your
another
first,
one.
right?
That was my first, and then I caught that tagged one later. And
That's right. You got.
they
Would you
sent,
get a tackle box?
They sent me a 6 inch by 3 inch Plano tackle box, a little
Check
clear,
it out.
a little clear.
What was
lid.
it? What was it there?
To hold all your gear in.
For you could put one redfish lure in
Yeah,
there.
right. Sheesh. That and like this is the first time that I've ever I've gone fishing like over like at night or anything like that, and where I'd have to layer up because it would be a little bit cold, like in the 50s. Well, we were going out in the 30s this year, and that was so much fun.
Who
Like,
was?
We were.
Me.
It
and
was
you?
cold. Yeah,
Was it 30?
it was.
I thought it was like 50.
No,
Or
it was
40.
cold. It was cold.
Were you there the day Austin took his shirt off? Was that
Yes.
you there? Okay, it was cold that day.
Yeah, yes, it was. All he had on was bibs. That's it. He was getting soaked that day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably the coldest day. But still, like going up there and I got that speckled trout.
That was your first speckled trout?
first-
First Maryland speckled
Chesapeake,
trout.
yeah. And yeah, so that, and I definitely want to go out and offshore. I want to do a lot more offshore fishing. For Christmas, I got my son a trip out with my friends on the spring mix. So we're gonna take a tuna trip with my son. He's never been, and he's super excited about going. So that'll be fun.
I was talking to Jackson about that.
Well, Frank, it's fish. It might not be the fishing you like, but it's fishing.
Trolling.
That's what they do out there. They're down there
For
catching
what, tuna?
for tuna, mahi, whatever's. It's just tuna that time of year.
See, I'm gonna sound crazy, and I'll explain this, but that just doesn't excite me that much. Like tuna, trolling for tuna, or even offshore. Excuse me, for that matter. I tried to burp.
Well, we
I could taste it.
last year we stopped and we were chunking. So you get a spinning rod and reel in your hand, and you're fishing that way. It's completely different too. Like,
Well, you were chunking. You weren't fishing for tuna, were you?
Yeah.
Oh, you were.
oh yeah, they'll come right up. They'll come right up to the boat and grab the hook.
I mean, trust me. I would love to get a tuna. It's just not like
Yeah,
the way I think with fishing, and it's probably why I'm so obsessed with it. And probably why a lot of people are. You're never going to master it, so there's always something to learn. But I like compartmentalizing and solving areas at a time.
yeah.
And clearly, I still have a long way to go. But like the flats is my backyard. Like I'd put myself up against anybody out here in the flats.
Yeah.
Down south, no. I know my place, and it's not in the front of the pack. But that's what drives me to learn. I'd rather learn those areas before moving out.
Yeah.
But that's what makes me so crazy about the whole thing.
I just want to try fishing every different kind of way. Like when we went down to Florida, he's like, I don't want to troll. I don't want to troll. And he talked to these captains like, I don't want to troll. And I'm like, well, what the hell are we gonna do? So we go out. We're like,
you guys
we
went
were
on a
just
head
talking
boat,
about.
didn't you?
It. Yeah, that was
That
the best.
towards the end. Yeah.
That was the best boat we went out on until this last trip that we went in August.
Just headboats drive me crazy. I can't.
It was COVID, so instead of having 32 people, they only were allowed to have like 15 people on the boat.
And
so
it's a big boat. I guess,
it was
yeah.
spaced out, and he put us right on fish. It was fun. But the last time in August we went out with this guy Frank, and
Frank's right there.
too many
He's
Franks, too many.
Hell of a name, boy.
And his son was with us, so we had 3 Franks on the boat. But he took us out center console, and he took us I think it's 15, 20 miles out to this wreck, and we're jigging on catching amberjack, and then he's like, "How about we catch some sharks?" We're like, "Yeah, let's catch some sharks."
Who said that?
The captain.
Oh.
He's as crazy as we are. Well, that'll
I
get to
think
get to day 2.
Riff wanted to catch sharks.
Yeah, because Riff kept missing those fish, and I think he was about. I've never seen someone this mad. Oh, I've never seen someone this mad about not catching fish before. He was every single, and I even hooked a fish and gave him the rod, and he lost it. He was getting pissed, and he's like, "I want to get something on the hook and bring it up to the boat."
Does he fish usually? Or?
Yeah, he fishes.
He fishes slacklining it, or like how do you?
He was getting worn out quick.
Yeah. I mean, we
speed jigging, just ripping it
constantly, and we got on some sharks. I mean, it was to the point you could see my muscles cramping up. I'm like, somebody pour a bottle of water over my head.
How big of sharks were they?
6 to 8 feet.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a sizable fish.
Yeah. And then so we did that the first day with him.
Did you
and
catch
then,
sharks?
Yeah. Yeah, we caught a
So
couple
what do they
of
do?
them.
They don't bring them in the boat, right?
No,
they bring them up,
keep them on the side.
cut it. You jump in on the back and get a picture. Right?
Absolutely.
Oh.
I
It's
did
all about the picture.
I was underneath it, like Top Gun.
Got it in the headlock.
And then day 2 with this guy Frank.
Is Frank a captain?
He is.
Okay.
Folklore Charters.
What kind of boat is it?
I think it's a 28 or 32. It's got-
So this isn't the head boat.
No.
This is the one that Brad and I were talking about when I went.
Is it like a
with
center
Brad.
console?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Beautiful boat.
so you guys are
Mercs.
catching sharks off a center console.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm picturing like a head boat.
Oh, no,
No,
yeah.
not this one.
No.
He's
This
60 some mile an hour. I mean, we get there quick.
Oh, wow.
I know we're about to get to the store.
we were coming in on the first day, and I was like, man, I said, Frank, how fast are we going? And he looks over, he's like, what do you say, like 46? And he goes, I said, damn, that's pretty fast.
Send it.
And Captain Frank's like, oh no, that's not it. And he hits it. You could feel it going back. Like these twin Mercs just threw this boat down. But yeah, like that was so day 2. We were going out. It was supposed to be an iffy day. You could see all the storms out in the water. We go out, and I actually got divorced on his boat.
We had to stay. The reason why we didn't go out because we had to stay in cell range so we could take this call.
Yeah, so I had to take a call.
We got to be involved
with the judge.
with the conference call.
You couldn't just postpone it.
Why?
No, we had to fix.
Well,
What better
so
place
you
to
could go
get
out further fishing?
What better place to get divorced?
How does
than
that even
out
work?
on a boat?
And-
It was through Zoom.
You hopped on Zoom and were like, "Nah, it's over."
We
And
stayed
they said,
right.
they said,
Was your ex-wife on the other side?
she said,
And you're sitting on a boat?
The judge said, we need to see your face, Mr. Novak. So I put the camera back on, and Brooke said, "Are you on a boat?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Let me see," and I picked the camera up. At this point, we're getting along, and she's like, "You son of a bitch!"
Celebratory.
I said, we're down in the Keys celebrating my divorce, and yeah. So that second day though, we're going out and we start chasing birds. We're out. You can't see anything. We're not, in the Keys. You're usually fishing where you can see land. We couldn't see anything. The storms were helping us not be able to see land too, but yeah, we started chasing birds, and we were going around, and this is the kind of captain where this is my kind of trolling. You drop your lines in, you go around in a circle, you don't catch anything, you reel them in, you go to the next one, and we're constantly like chasing
So was he using like the same kind of inline planer thing
Yeah.
like Steve uses?
Yep.
Okay, so it's not like set 30 lines and
Right. No. We were only doing maybe four or five.
4 rods, I think it was. Maybe throwing another one in.
Yep.
What are you targeting here?
Mahi,
Well, actually,
tuna.
he wanted to go out for marlin, I think it was.
Yeah.
Because he said right now was ideal for them, so we just kept pushing it. He's like, that's why I love Frank. We, just an awesome dude to get along with, and we paid. I think we were doing like a half day or 3/4 day charter or something. He's
The
like,
second one was half day because of the weather.
You're getting a full day or whatever it was because we send it. We went out.
He sent it. Yeah, we were out. We're chasing, and all of a sudden, you can't see 30 yards away from you the water disturbance. It looks like the water's just boiling because the storm is like right there, and the birds disappear.
So
we
the
have no
water's
idea
not
where
boiling
we are
from bait. It's rain.
Well, no. At this point,
we were. It was
at this
fish,
point,
there was a storm.
we were trolling, catching fish. It started pouring down rain on us, and he's like, "All right, let's reel him in." We go away from the rain, but the storm decided to chase after us. So after like the 4th or 5th time, he just
Birds!
stops the boat and he's like, I don't know what to do. You guys want to go in? And we're like, this is
Nah.
fishing weather. Are you kidding me? He's like, man, he said, you guys are as nuts as I am. I'm giving you a full day. And he kept
Was
us
it
out
lightning?
the whole day. No. If we heard it in the distance,
Off in the distance.
he would look at the radar and we'd go away from it. But, yeah, that was a hell of a day. That
Run
was
a
another
little bit. We would see the birds, start catching some fish, run more, and then finally we headed through it.
Yeah.
He full send straight through it till we get to the other side because he really wanted to get us on some marlin.
We saw one.
Did you get a marlin? or no?
Riffy saw one chasing bait.
Tuna, dolphin.
Yeah. Yep. And then that was another. Riffy wasn't mad because he wasn't catching fish because we all were catching fish that day. He just wanted a cheeseburger.
Frankie got mad.
Frankie got mad. He threw a water bottle at his dad. But we were coming back in, and every time we would see birds, he's tapping Captain. He's tapping it, man. He's pointing over,
Dude.
and the captain slows down, and we start going over. And me and Riffy are
Were
in the
they
front of the boat.
were they legitimate birds, or were you?
No,
are you-
yeah.
we were on
Okay,
fish.
okay. I was making sure you weren't saying Frank was the guy when you see 2 birds.
No.
Because when someone's on my boat,
So
they're
here's
like,
the thing.
there's birds right there. I'm like, dude, it's
Here's
it's
the thing.
fucking
When you're
2 pigeons.
when
right
you're
there.
out there, if he said if you see 2 birds going in the same direction, tell me because we're gonna follow them. So every time you see 2 birds, we're following. So Riffy's getting mad. He said, "I just want a cheeseburger, man. I just want a cheeseburger." He's like, "This if Frank doesn't stop, the son of a bitch, I'm gonna kill him." But yeah, we ended up getting a lot that day, and then we were staying at a place where he pulled right up to we had a dock right there.
You got
he
your
pulled
cheeseburger?
right out. No,
No,
I didn't get a
he didn't get a
cheeseburger.
cheeseburger.
Oh no, yeah. So there was a restaurant right next door to where we were staying, and he was taking too long or something. And Riffy's like, he said, "Fuck this guy."
We got back in. I was catching nerf sharks,
Yeah,
whatever,
he was-
right at the dock.
Because he was cleaning the fish and throwing everything. So the
yeah.
nurse sharks were coming up,
You're
and he's
chumming the
fishing.
water.
And
I'm
Riffy's
still
like,
fishing.
"I'm still too hungry." He said, "Fuck that guy. We're going to the restaurant anyway without him." So we left and we got food. But yeah, that was a hell of a trip.
Yeah.
For sure. Yep. I learned a lot from these guys. I mean, I'm not talking fishing like we like you and I can relate fishing out, like everything, meeting new people and like all my business connections too. Like these guys, so Riffy owns his own company. Frank's got his own company. I was trying to run a business too. And while I'm down there, it's like the whole world was falling apart back home. And I'm on the phone yelling at every morning, screaming at them. We're having breakfast. I'm outside screaming at my employees because
I've been on fishing trips with you where that's the reality.
7:30 in the morning. Well, I mean, I at least got them on the phone this time. When we were out fishing,
Yeah,
I
you were
couldn't.
like, it's 11 o'clock. Where the fuck are you?
I thought my 2 employees were dead because I couldn't get in touch with them. Man, yeah. So
Don't even
I kind
call
of
me
had
when I'm
it,
gone.
but like through all that, like Riffy, him and I were roomed up together, and we talked a lot about business, and things just kept going downhill, and I eventually went and worked with him. That was the guy that I was working with for a little bit,
Gotcha.
and he taught me a lot. He's taught me a lot about business. This guy, he'll show up at my jobs and walk through and like this looks good or whatever.
Does he tell you when it looks bad?
He does. He does. And
Absolutely.
And he always tells me about drop claws. Drop cloth.
Drop
on the
cloth
ground.
safety
Vinyl
inspector.
down, no canvas on the wood.
Oh my god.
Drop cloth safety inspector.
But yeah, so I mean this is what fishing's done in my life, you know, like I mean, through my recovery I've met these people, you know.
Yeah.
But what we all have in common is we all have fishing in common, and you know, my relationship with this guy, like he's probably one of my closest friends next to Steve, honestly. Like outside of fishing, we have work in common, we have recovery in common, and we got Jesus in common.
Oh,
Ding ding ding. There we go. But yeah, like fishing, and that's why fishing's so important to me today, is because of the relationships that I'm building around, you know, having that, and again, you know, the people that are in my life that know me, if I'm out fishing, there's no problem at all. Like, go, you know, that brings me back to earth, calms me down a little bit for the day, even when my employees are
Missing or dead.
yeah. Well, nip that in the bud.
No, it's pretty wild how I mean, just 3 years ago I didn't know fucking 40, 50 people that I know now through fishing.
Yep.
And you know, to say the least, that, you know, I told Frank, you know, all my vacation days are on fishing, so I spend my vacations with these people that I've met in the last 3 years. You
Right.
know?
I try to keep pushing you. Come on, come on, man.
My poor wife.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think next year I get another week, but I mean,
we can fill that up.
My goals are to start my own company here soon. I'm taking my master's license next month, which I don't like telling people in case I fail, but we'll see. I mean, once I get that, then all kind of fishing opportunities open
Frank's
up.
got an opening coming up.
For what?
Painting.
Oh.
Always, my door's always open. You just gotta stay in it. You just keep falling out. Most people just work their way right out the door.
You push them out sometimes too.
No, I'm the easiest employer you can work for.
Frank, I don't even.
I'm
work
amazing.
I don't even work for you, and you drive me crazy.
How many employees do you have, Frank?
3.
3.
One, I got my foreman. He's been with me over a year, and I can't keep anybody else. I got another 2 guys, all recovery, Christian, well, supposed to be, but
I could. Put
it always
that on
comes
my
down.
resume,
It always
too.
comes down to me and my foreman. That's it.
Yeah.
You know,
That's impossible. I mean,
I've asked God to give me a passion other than fishing that I can make. You know, I was saying earlier, I'm so fast and good at what I do because I've asked God to, you know, I train, I practice on everything I could possibly imagine, and my speed, the durability, and longevity of what I do. I want it to be the best because I'm a perfectionist. I try to do the best I can, you know, and I hated it. And, you know, just another part of recovery, you know, God can take something to complete garbage and make it into something shiny and beautiful. You know, that's my life. You know, jails, institutions, mental hospitals, homelessness, suicide attempts. You know, I've been in jail, locked up probably 50 sometimes. You would never think that, you know, of the person, you know. On paper, I'm an animal. Nobody wanted to be around me. I was mean, mad, and miserable. I hated everybody, hated myself, hated God. You know, I used to play God, and, you know, I run my life into the ground every time I try to run it. You know, that's why you'll always hear me saying, thank you, Jesus, because I got plugged into a power source greater than myself, and I stay plugged in because I know where that power comes from. It lights up my life. Every day is like my birthday. I've never had anything that I have today. You know, I owe that all to God and recovery, you know, and actually walking the walk, not just talking the talk. Because I talked the talk the first time around, and it got me, you know, kept doing the same thing, and it got me I was pointing the finger at the same relationship that I'm actually in now. That's a whole different ballgame. You know, just fussing and fighting and arguing through the courts so many times. We had a kid, you know, I was newly sober and still pointing the finger at her instead of taking care of me, you know, and
how long have you been sober now?
coming up with 7 years.
Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Oh, thank God. And
Novak, you're what, 3?
Thank you, Jesus.
thank you, Jesus.
You're 3?
Yep, I just celebrated 3 years. Yep.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, she we finally split up, and then I started working on me, and then they say I went back out drinking for another year and a half, and they said, oh, your nevers will come true. I always run from the police on foot. I've done everything possible you can imagine, bad and wrong in anybody's life, you know.
Have you ever been linebacker tackled by a cop?
Oh yeah, he broke my ankle. I've had a lot of things broken from police officers, you
Jeez.
know. But This last one was, last while back, 20 some charges later, I'm on a high speed chase, taking them through the bypass down in White Marsh, stop sticks and all that. I'm in a 99 Camry, allegedly. That's what my cousin Will, he's going to love to hear that one, allegedly, because he was like, man, I would come on his boat. Again, he was the last one that I was trolling with. We'd run, I think, 28, 30 rods. It was a job. I mean, I would do that a couple weeks out of the year, but I showed up at his boat. He's like, holy crap, because I was supposed to go away for another 3 years. And, I started working on myself more and stopped pointing the finger at everybody else. And then I got plugged into that power source I was talking about, and God's, I stayed plugged in, and almost 3 months sober that second time around from all them charges, well, when I got back, I ended up flooding the barracks out too, fighting with the cops. And
flooding the barracks?
Yeah, I stuffed the toilet and went huddled up because I knew they were going to beat me. So I get back. I'm an animal. You don't want me drinking. That's what I'm saying. Not a little bit. And
were you drinking in prison?
No.
When you stuffed the toilet?
No, that's all the times I've ever been locked up. I knew about God because every time I got locked up, of course, a lot of people when you're detained. There ain't nothing but you in the walls working out. I was good with cleaning up the outside, but it was the inside that was a mess. I was a complete entire. I was a deadbeat father, son, a friend, a human being. The only goal I had in life was to have 2 kids by the time I was 25. I had 2 kids, but I was a deadbeat dad. Alcohol was the only thing I loved. If I loved anything, the addiction, the obsession, compulsion, and But yeah, man, I went back in front of that judge. I'd ruined that because they gave me an opportunity to. They said my lawyer said you will serve no time if you go clean those toilets that you flooded out once a week for a year. Well, I was still drinking then, so I go there the first time. It's I'm supposed to be there at 10 o'clock in the morning. I thought.
Hang tight. Let me ask a question here, just to clarify. So you were in prison when you flooded the toilet?
That night when I got them charges on the high speed chase, that's when they locked me up.
Okay. So you were like in an overnight cell.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Right there on the bypass, right.
Gotcha. And then you go to court, and he tells you you're not going to go to prison as long as you come clean.
If
the
I had
toilets.
to clean the toilets, that was a deal that we worked out.
This sounds like something you see on Facebook. Like that judge that yeah. The people have like the sob story, and he's like, oh well, you're helping the grandma across the street, so I've never heard of a that's a prison sentence.
Not in Hartford County. No, I know people to do years.
Fuck?
Not with someone with your record either.
Yeah, I got 4 pages. And
he said just come clean the toilets.
Come clean the toilets, and then I show up late because I was already drinking the night before, and I'm all hungover. So they revoke all that.
You had to be on time to clean the toilets.
Yeah, it was 10 o'clock. I was supposed to be there every Saturday, and I show up late. And I'm thinking I'm all early, and they revoke it. So I got to go back in front of the judge again, the state's attorney. Man, they talking about me being a career criminal. They got all the facts. It's like, look, he cannot be on the street. But I already got back in recovery, and I started doing things differently and stopped pointing the finger. And I started working on me. And I was equipped and well and ready to take the, recovery and God into the prisons, But I asked God to speak through me like I always do. I bring God into everything, and I can't go wrong. Lessons and blessings I'll learn, or I'm always going to learn. Whether it works out in my favor or not, I'm still going to learn from it. And shoot, I forgot where I was going.
So it's a lot to digest there.
Oh yeah, my life is a train. My past is a train wreck. But anyway, I asked God to speak through me, and I'm focusing on the judge. And she said she wanted me to continue doing what I was doing on the streets and not back in prison. And that's when my complete surrender started. And almost 2 years sober, I started to build my relationship with God more. And that's where the difference between my recovery before and now is, because I built that relationship with God. And my buddy Danny McGee, he's the one that sponsored me to go on my retreat, 7-mile walk with Jesus. And that's where I nailed everything to the cross. And I was like, you know what? I'm not carrying none of that baggage no more. I'm done. I don't have to carry it. I give everything I can to God. Ain't nothing mine. The money's not mine. The kids ain't mine. The family's not mine. God's allowed me to borrow it. for a short period of time. I don't know how long it's going to be, and I'm going to enjoy everything while I can while I got it. Thank you, Jesus. I'm done with that. Yeah. I got a little bit.
There's your Sunday sermon.
There you go. That's it.
All right. Well, I'm looking at that piece of newspaper.
Oh,
over there.
cheese and crackers.
I'll scan that and post it so everyone can see it. Let's speaking about miracles and God and all that good stuff.
That was one of the times. One of the many.
Yeah. I mean, what the fuck happened there, dude?
Whew.
Say slow. I want to hear all the details. Slow down. Walk me through. Walk me through waking up that morning.
I was.
I
knew it was coming. There's a lot.
There's not like Vietnam flashbacks from this, is there?
No, it was.
Like I said, you got to start in the morning. You got to break it all.
I don't
down.
remember the mornings. I was an alcoholic, so I drank every day, drugged every day for.
Well, start from where you remember that morning.
It wasn't even that morning. It was that night.
Oh, you guys went out overnight.
Yeah, it was. I was doing my normal thing, delivery down to Ocean City, and then I met somebody on my.
Did you work for Amazon?
I was in the import and export business, so. But I mean, I can laugh about it now, but it was a miserable life that I was living. But anyway, I was 18 years old then. I was just about 2 or 3 years into the game, and you know, I ended up meeting this guy. He's passed away now. Robbie Baldwin, and another friend of ours that's in that article with us was on the boat. Well, I met him down there at Ocean City. You know, he was a fishing guy. That's how we connected. And then I found out he liked
Your deliveries.
Yeah.
He liked something that I was, you know, yeah, whatever. And you know, we kind of connected, and he wanted to go. You know, he was talking about tuna fishing offshore. You know, I've never been. And I said, all right, well, I'll pay for everything. You know, filled the boat up. You got the butterfish.
What kind of boat was it?
22-foot Grady White. We were going the hot dogs.
The unsinkable boat.
Right.
Yeah. It was submergible. You know, so we were partying all day, and he said, look, we're going to go out tonight. Small craft advisory, but we'll be fine.
Jesus.
I don't care. I wasn't scared of anything.
I know. Small craft advisory on the ocean in a 22-foot Grady.
Yeah. To me, it's in Back River. I don't know.
Yeah, well, not only that, I guess if you're drinking all day,
yeah,
your inhibitions are out the
and
window.
My cojones were this big, so
yeah.
I mean, I thought I was untouchable. I thought it was the yeah.
Was that guy pretty fucked up too?
Yeah, he was messed up, and then you know, we filled the boat up. He met us at the bar behind wherever the heck it was, fishing center or something like that, and we get like a case or two of beer, no food. I might have had a Gatorade or two, and I think a couple pieces of chicken or something.
You had some butterfish.
Yeah,
What's butterfish?
Butterfish bait, chunk for chunking, and we're going out the inlet. This is the first time I've ever been out of the inlet, and it's just super rough. I'm sitting up front. I got beers in both hands. I remember just I'm having a ball because I'm on a boat. I'm going fishing, going tuna fishing. Never been tuna fishing. So we get a few miles out, and he stops. I'm like, wondering why he's stopping. Well, the oil light comes on the boat, and he's saying, "Oh, well, it burns a lot of oil." So he's got underneath the center console, 22-foot Grady center console, and he's got all this oil and underneath the console. So he's filling that up. Got to take the motor box off, you know, the cap, and put some oil in there or whatever, and we start heading back out. So I'm at the front, the bow of the boat, and he stops another time.
So it was rough out?
Oh, it was freaking ridiculous.
Like just
bouncing everywhere.
Waves coming up over the bow.
They were just spraying everywhere, but it was nasty. We were doing, I don't know, 15, 20 mile an hour maybe.
Just slamming.
Just
every wave, yeah.
And all of a sudden water just starts coming up on my feet. And it's got a little step up on the front there. And this ain't supposed to happen. I mean, I've had boats my entire life. Got my license when I think I was 11. You know, I've had my first boat when I was 13. I know boats, but this is not right. So we go back there, and the waves started. You know, we were dead stop. The waves started crashing the back of the boat, and killed out off all the batteries in the back. Because I immediately went for the VHF, and I was ready to do a
batteries
SOS.
the
The battery, they were all in the back compartment, which I don't know if they had popped open or whatever, but the waves had killed everything. Right as soon as I grabbed the radio.
What year is this?
96.
So no cell phones.
1996. Yes. I think I have a StarTAC flip phone.
How far out were you though? Or estimated?
27 miles.
You were
far.
27 miles
Somewhere around
offshore.
there, I think it was, yeah.
That's
That's where we end up getting rescued at.
okay.
But we were way, we were out.
So I mean, okay,
We were heading to Hot Dogs, so,
Gotcha.
and I think that's 30,
Something like that.
something like
Yeah.
that.
So water truck's coming over the back. Toast, batteries are toast.
Yeah, it kills the batteries.
Is it pitch black out there?
Darker than anything.
Yeah, I guess it's. Is there storms? Is there moonlight?
Just a little bit of moon up top, just a tiny little speck. I don't know. Again,
What time of year is this? I guess we forgot to ask that.
Probably midsummer.
Okay, so it's,
It-
you're
it-
not
we
worried
were
about cold water.
It was fine.
It was fine.
It was great. Just look how amazing I turned out.
It surprised me when I got in, but you get used to it.
Oh yeah,
All right. So water starts coming over the back of the boat, roast everything. You go for the VHF.
yeah, everything's done.
So VHF's no good. Can't call out.
Nope, everything's done. And so first thing I start to do is I go for the life jackets. I'm digging, I'm ripping everything apart, all the hatches, trying to find life jackets, get everybody life jackets. And Rob, that's running the boat. He I don't know what the heck he was doing. He was all whacked out. He was high as a kite. So I mean,
Yeah.
he's high drunk. He just different planet somewhere. And so I give everybody life jackets, and then I see a little freighter going by after however long it was. I find this little flare kit, flare gun. So don't if you ever run into this issue, which you probably never will, don't shoot all 3 flares at the same boat. So I shot all 3 flares at that freighter going by. I was like, oh yeah, we're great now. I figured he's got to see one of them. And
Was there other boats out there other than one freighter?
no,
Okay.
nobody was out.
How far away was the
They had
freighter?
some brains.
The eye can see what 15, 20 miles or something. He was
I
probably
think,
about
I think you can see 7 on the horizon, right?
7.
I could be wrong.
He was nowhere.
He was
Yeah.
out there.
300-400 foot boat looked like it was only about that big. So
Yeah.
I just sent it, and that night goes by, and boat's filling up, and 3/4 of the boats just stayed submerged, and it ended up staying submerged throughout the whole ordeal. It was 50. They said it was 2.5 days, 54 hours. They figured it out.
So let's back up here. Okay, so it's middle of the night. You shoot all these flares off at this boat. They see nothing. Your boat is like this in the water.
Yeah, just about a boat's hanging up.
So
6 foot maybe of the boat is out of water.
Gotcha.
The rest of the boat's just underneath.
now, does all the beer stay on the boat? Did you guys manage to keep?
Well,
it on the boat?
Knucklehead starts throwing everything off the boat.
Why?
I was mad. I mean, he was throwing. Just custom rods, all them big internationals and all that
He
stuff.
thought it was going to make it lighter.
Yes, and then he almost opened. He was going to let the gas out of the boat too. So I said, "You do not touch that," because I said the boat's definitely going down if you do that. I mean, it's going.
Yeah, it's going to fill up the tank.
I didn't know. I just said, "Don't open that." And he was just nonstop. He was throwing everything off the boat, and just a whack job. So
So
we noticed the boat just starts rocking back and forth every time all the weight, would get to one
it's like
side.
a kayak filling up.
Yes.
It's very. It's
Just
got its
I'm
own
waiting for it
mind.
to flip over. So
Yeah.
I'm like ripping the cushions apart, trying to chew hole. I'm chewing holes. I'm tying stuff together. I'm throwing stuff off the boat, hoping somebody would see it. I'm just trying to make a little raft because I figure if we go over, we need something to hold on to. I'm like, come up with MacGyver and crap. And so that morning, I think he was so whacked out of his mind. I ended up putting a rope around me to the center console, trying to kind of do one of them sailboat things, lean back so if it goes up too high, I can put some weight on it on the outside, the poor starboard side, and
So morning comes. And
he's in the back, like sitting. He's standing in the water on the back little hatch with a little spinning rod in his hand, just all whacked out of his mind. I guess he lost. And I said, "What are you doing?" Because the sun.
I'm sorry to laugh.
Sun's coming up. So all we're doing, I mean, all you did on the second day, the first full day, was you'd see a wall of wave, and then the sky.
Was it
was
rough?
huge.
Was
10,
it rough
12
the next
foot
day?
rollers, just swells.
Holy
big swells.
shit.
So you're going up and then down. So you'd see the sky, and then you see a wall, just all water. And
So you're just getting slammed.
and then he ended up having a shotgun on the boat. All the butterfish was just going out. So we're leaving a chum slick as we're doing all this. You see where this one's going.
Oh,
Hold on.
I didn't think it was going to go here, but
Oh, yeah. So we end up, we got the chum slick going. not of our own accord where we wanted to. But I start seeing dolphin, just popping off. So, I mean, we got a good...
Mahi or dolphin?
Yes, Mahi, not porpoise. And, I'm like, we got a good slick going. So, he thinks he's going to try to catch some fish or whatever. I think what we did, we try to... No boats are around. There's nothing around. So we're trying to figure out what we're doing. And, everybody's losing, the girl Tiffany, she's like, I think that was the second day, but she had mentioned something about, I see your truck driving down the inlet. I'm like, no, you don't see no inlet here. Because you start to hallucinate a little bit after the first day, and the heat and everything. It was hot. And
The drugs help the hallucination.
dehydrated.
I mean, but so sorry, I'm trying to slow this down, but there's a lot of detail to cover here. So the next morning, you guys figure out you're fucked. Number one, what's on the boat still? Have you ever read that book, The Hatchet? They crashed up. This kid crashed the plane. He's got like 6 things to survive. So is there drugs still on the boat?
No, he threw. There was a little bag about the biggest the palm of your hand. He threw that off. Thought that was going to we didn't even have nothing to party with.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering.
There was nothing there, no water, but there was one Gatorade bottle that I ended up tying a rope around it and tying it to the boat just in case we needed that.
Yeah. And you guys
there
were
was
just
some
passing
chicken.
that around, just keeping your mouth wet.
I don't even know if we even drank it. I can't remember that part.
Oh, yeah.
I just remember tying it off. We may have drank it, but you're thinking of all kind of crap. I mean, everything in the world.
No one's ever going to see me
Yes.
again. Yeah.
That was it. So we did see a couple pieces of chicken floating around. I think we might have ate a bite or two of them, but it was all salt. It was nasty.
Yeah.
So didn't worry about that. Well, Rob's got all this, nice electronics. I mean, they were millionaires. The family was millionaires, and they had to have money, and so he takes all the electronics, and we're like playing skeet shooting. He's throwing his GPS up in the air, and we're shooting it, and we've taken turns shooting whatever we could on the boat.
Is this just to keep your mind
Yeah,
off shit?
that was the first full day, towards midday, I guess it was, and just trying to do something to occupy time. We have shells, a whole case of shells on the boat.
Yeah, why not add injury to being lost?
Sure. and me with the bright idea, I'm like, I'm gonna shoot some seagulls. So because they were already breaking on, for the butterfish that was out there, they're eating that. So I'm just shooting the birds, putting a blood slick in the water now.
Yeah.
So then the sharks start to show up.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So I think it was if it was that day or the following day, it all kind of runs together. But I think it was the last day. So all that's going out there. We're shooting the birds. We're shooting all that, and I think we even did that on the second day. But that after that first full day night, we ended up having a manual for, I guess, the GPS, and we had a lighter on board. But the wind was blowing so bad. Nighttime's coming. Well, apparently Rob had told his mom, where he was going. He always told, taking off.
Yeah,
Which
is a great idea to do.
Yes.
Especially if you're going offshore.
Yeah, let somebody know. Team up with somebody, pair up with somebody, especially if you're going offshore. Let somebody know where.
Or in a kayak at 40-degree weather.
Let somebody know where you're going. We were on the news. We were on all kind of stuff. Later on, I found out my mom had said those poor kids and their family, because that's what they heard. 3 kids lost at sea, as you'll see on the paper. And the mom apparently had called Coast Guard, and they were looking for us. And I'm trying to light the manual up and put it on because he's got 2 outriggers. I'm trying to get get it up so they can see it, but every time it just kept blowing out. So they came by like 2 times. I was like, yes.
Oh, the helicopters?
Yeah. So the helicopters
man,
came.
That's like a movie.
Yeah.
It's like you're seeing.
It's a horror movie.
Yeah, no, I know, but that's what you see. Like you know,
Yeah.
you would imagine that in a movie. Like they're
Yes,
right there.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
We were so pumped up, and I'm excited. I'm like, come on, and we're trying to because it's a center console. There wasn't. It was only that little cuddy that had all the oil in. It wasn't like a walk down. You can burn something, come out, and you know. So we're all trying to huddle around it. It's probably blowing 30 mile an hour, and trying to light this thing with a lighter. You know, it kept blowing out on us, and they didn't see us. And that's when the second, all that night goes by, man. It's just I end up getting back on the center console, trying to keep the boat from flipping over. And second morning comes, that's when the sharks show up. And then I believe that was the final day.
Also, like a movie. It's like like you said, a horror movie.
So I apparently was from what I remember, I was supposed to be a father back then, and the girl that was on the boat with us, because I'm losing my mind. I was like, I'm not getting eaten by a shark. I don't. Even to this day, I don't even like getting in salt water. Because I know what's in the water.
Yeah,
I know what I catch, in certain areas, so I won't get in there. But that's all I kept saying. It's like my mind is focused on I'm not getting eaten by a shark because the boat is just more and more just getting submerged.
How
right?
close were the sharks getting to the boat?
They're just about right in the back of the boat.
Oh, they're at the back of the boat.
And it was driving me insane because
as it should.
So I'm in my mind I'm not getting eaten by a shark, and then I load up the shotgun. It was one of the first times. I don't know if I've tried this any time before that, but a lot after this. But I loaded up the shotgun and I put that in my mouth. So, I was ready to, I'm done. I'm not getting eaten. Yeah, so.
What are the other people on the boat
Well,
doing?
Robbie, he was still off in his own, own world. He may or may not have said something. I can't remember. But I remember the only thing, because that girl Tiffany had said something about, Frank, remember your baby. Don't. And then made me think, that I was supposed to be a father for the first time at 18 years old or something. Yeah. And I said, I'm not getting, I was ready. At my fingers, I'm ready to just pull the trigger. My hands on the trigger. And
so are the sharks like they're aggressive? Are they being aggressive or?
No, they're just swimming back and forth, man. Swimming around the boat, everything.
But the fact that they know you're there.
Yeah, I was already checked out.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't for her, thank God, that she did. God did not want me home yet.
Yeah.
So finally, I ended up putting it down, and we would see throughout that last day. I mean, they must have lifted the small craft advisor because they had calmed down, and we would see these boats way off in the distance. So at first, I was shooting at the boats
with the shotgun.
Yeah, but they were way far away. I figured, maybe they would hear it, maybe something, and I would just kept doing that. Then all that stuff with the shark stuff, and we would see boats so far off, but we had these little whistles on our thing, and I would be constantly blowing this whistle, and we seen this one boat that was, I think it ended up being like a little 24-foot little like Capri or something like that, something ridiculous. It was dead flat calm on that last day, and I'm blowing on this whistle, man, and I could feel my I was about to give myself an aneurysm or something. I was just desperation. I said, this is the last time I'm blowing this, and I'm done. Like, I'm done. So I blow on this because the boat had stopped off in the distance, and I'm blowing and blowing on this whistle, and finally I was like, you know what? Last time I blow on this whistle, and finally the boat takes off and gets on plane and starts turning to the right and starts heading over towards us. And I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. And finally, the girl Tiffany, as the guy is coming over, she pulls out some chapstick. We're blistered up and everything. She pulls out some chapstick. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? We're all, just a mess out in this, just baking it. nothing to hide from under there. She pulls that out. I'm like, I'm gonna kill you. So the boat comes over. You know, it was so weird. One of the only things that we didn't shoot in that boat was I think it was the VHF. We shot the GPS and all the other stuff. The guy that stopped to help us, his VHF just went out. So Rob gave him his. So luckily, we were able to call, the Coast Guard, which was only they were like 2 miles from us, 3 miles
looking
from us,
for you?
looking for us. He ended up throwing us some sodas, waters. But I still to this day, if this guy ever sees us, I hope he would reach out. I think my mom tried to find him, but this guy just threw us some sodas and stuff, and we called the Coast Guard, and he just went. He said he heard about us on the news, heard about us on the radio, all that stuff.
Did he wait for the Coast Guard to come pick you up?
I would assume he did.
I was gonna say that'd be
That's what
fun.
I was thinking too.
Like, yeah, there they go.
Yeah.
There's a couple sodas. We got some fish to catch.
I think, that they had talked and whatever. I don't know. So if the Coast Guard even knows something, but we've never heard about that guy ever again. My mom was dying to try to get a hold of him. And apparently on the way out, not only was the oil issues, we must have hit something on the way out, and we had a hole in the hull. I don't know how big it was or whatever. But the whole time this is all happening, there's a kicker motor on the back of this boat. I didn't know. Again, I had regular 1 motors on my boat. I didn't know. Well, I to this day, I don't know if he said it didn't work or something or whatever. But
was the bow down or was the stern?
The stern was down.
Okay, well the kicker motor wouldn't have even worked submerged anyway, right?
Yeah, but when we started, I remember him trying to do something with it. But
yeah. So they towed that boat back in?
Yep, they pumped it out. They got us on the Coast Guard, gave us little packets of food, and I just remember tasting that peanut butter. And then that little pack is the only thing I would eat out of it, even though I didn't eat for a couple of days. But I'm all still strung out from the sun, the drinking, the party, and all the other stuff before we left. And we get back into port, and I see the news there and everybody, and they're speechless. They can't. I was like, "You want a story? I got a freaking story for you." So I'm the one that did the article.
As to where most people like the other people would be like, "I don't want to talk about this at all. I just lived it."
Yeah. So it was for the longest time we had a bunch of articles, and this one, the one I have on your table, I think that was the one that was in my mom's. My mom had that article, and that's been. I think I figured it out before we came in. 26 years I've been carrying that thing. Yeah, I used to drink over it. I've tried to end my life dozens of times. Drinking, drugging, and living my own life since then. But that was just, I remember saying I'll never be out in the boat again. But I was out with the boat him several times. He almost flipped us a couple times. The kid Rob.
You went back out with the same guy?
With Rob, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, but then I found out more stories. He had crashed his couple. Again, they had money, and Richie Baldwin. He's a commercial fisherman. He can correct me if the story just goes on and on with Robbie. I remember he had totaled one of his jet boats or something into the 50 bridge or something. They told me.
So his parents just had him. They just keep.
Yeah.
Just get another one.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Just replace it.
Yeah. So the one time I think he had his dad's or his brother's 21-foot Gambler bass boat. We're doing 70 miles an hour, and a cabin cruiser's in front of us. And I'm telling him to slow down because I know we're about to launch. He doesn't slow down. So we come straight up in the air.
What's the launch when you hit a wave and
hit the ramp? So she's kicking a big swell, and he comes. That's another time that could have just killed. A couple times our boats broke down. We had to drift all the way across the darn bay.
You see, I'm always whenever I'm on a boat and a storm's coming or anything, I'm always looking for escape plans.
I run to them.
To what? To the storms?
Apparently.
Yeah.
I've gotten a little bit smarter since I've been sober.
I just always have a game plan on my way out. If the storm's coming this way,
we did that in Florida. We had a game plan. I waited till
it was the last second. We were out. I was telling you, we went out. He marked the coordinates when we were out with Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
And we went out the next day. We rented a boat. It was a Sea Fox. So you know how quality they are.
Great,
And
great
20,
paint.
22, 23
Yeah,
foot.
it was
Fantastic
center
paint jobs.
console. We're not even out into the ocean. We're just going through the canals, and I can shake the center console like by hand the whole thing.
the
Is
hard-
this
the
a new
hard-
boat?
No. The hard top. We were supposed to have a twin 250.
Yeah, something like that.
24, 26 footer, but that fell through.
Yeah, and we go out, and I was the only thing I could think of was that it was a shark on this rod that our friend Ricky that lives down there, he gave us some rods to take out with us. He'd probably been sitting in his garage for 15 years when he gave it to me.
Did you re-spool them?
I could.
Oh no, they were dry.
That would be a waste of time.
Dry rotted.
I got to feel the weight of a very big fish, and then it didn't even snap. It was just like it was down, and then it just slowly like came up. They were just dissolved in the water, and I'm even little Frankie's like, I think we should probably go. And like me and Frank are like, we're good. We'll be all right. It's coming this way.
Yeah,
we're
you can
going
see
that
them
way.
east and west, right? So I mean, you just keep an eye on them, but don't stop fishing.
Yeah.
Don't ever stop fishing.
Yeah. Then they
fast
just
boat-
they
fast
just
can your
started
boat
getting
go?
closer and closer together, and we're dead in the middle of them. And so he said, "I'm on the front."
So when Frank
I
says
said,
it's time
let's
to
just-
go, it's time to go.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's usually you might want to back up.
And because we should have left 20 minutes earlier, we had to go as fast as possible to get back because the storm was about to kick our ass. And
there was
the wind was already coming, and we're already in, 3-4 footers?
How big was the Sea Fox?
22. About to fall apart anyway.
Morons.
And I have a video.
I tore that boat
I'll
apart.
send you the video. It's just of me in the front getting my ass handed to me.
Yeah.
And he's just full speed.
We have to. It's a rental boat.
And you can
Send it.
And all you hear him screaming is "Send it!" And
Send it! Thank you, Jesus!
No, this evil laugh that he has when he knows he's this boat's about to fall apart. He said, I think I heard him scream one time something about the insurance plan.
Well, yeah, it was breaking apart. Everything was breaking apart on the boat.
The door,
The hatches were busting
yeah.
off. I mean,
like busted off. We had to
Yeah.
as we're taking the canals back in to drop the boat off. I'm back there like just trying to screw doors back on and shit.
What was the insurance policy like? Did they charge you extra?
no,
They just held your $2,000 for
they tried
18
to.
months.
Yeah, they ended up trying to screw. Apparently, that company screws people out of their deposit, $1,000 deposit. But as soon as I gave them a bad review on Google, they
That's all it
immediately
takes.
called me. Said, "Oh, well, we'll pay you for your full trip, and or whatever the heck. We'll give you, whatever.
So where's mine?
You're what?
You paid you for they gave you all your money back?
Hey, man, I brought you back alive. You're good. You owe me.
Yeah, okay.
I saved you.
You saved me. We weren't out in the ocean for 2.5 days. You're right. You're right, Frank.
Hey,
You saved me.
I'm experienced.
hey, you didn't have to get rescued by the Coast Guard. It's a win.
It was close.
Oh my gosh, it was so. I think one year, my poor boat. Nobody's gonna want to fish with me after this.
I was gonna say, aren't you trying to sell your boat? I wouldn't be telling these stories.
No, I mean, ever since I got sober, I mean, I really dial my stuff. I mean, I baby my stuff.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
My son, my son's been out with me before, and probably the worst.
How old's your son?
He's a 21-year-old Marine. He's in Cherry Point, North Carolina, and I think it was about my first time I was sober. The first time around, I was sober almost 4 years before I went back out. I believe it was the first time around, but I was so pumped on getting him on for stripers, and one of the last times I was trolling on my boat, and had a 22-foot IMP walk around, and God was telling me the whole way through this, don't go out today. I'm checking the weather. Weather's, I'll push the envelope on pretty much everything. And I go to pick up my son, and he's not answering the phone. I'm dying to get him. I'm calling him. And finally he wakes up, he was coming, but he overslept or something. Finally, we're waiting a little bit for him. We get him. Then we go to put some fuel in the boat. I lose the gas cap. I got it on a lift. And then we got to go all morning trying to hunt around for another gas cap. Then I find one. I go back, try to put it on. Well, apparently gas caps are all different sizes. You've got several different sizes. So then I got to go back to the place, and I went to like 3 other stores, finally get a gas cap. Then I'm heading out. I'm watching the flags are standing straight out, you know. And
Is this your current boat?
It's a
No,
good time
no,
to
no.
go.
This is the 22 IMP.
Steven, I thought was a great idea.
Well, yeah,
First time out?
I could see it getting bad, but my own I wanted to get everybody out on some fish. Well, as I'm heading out, I'm right by Hart Miller Island. I'm getting ready to go through the cut to head out towards Love Point. And you got to get the shoot, where the heck's the line at? Which you can start earlier in the season. Anyway, there's a line drawn that you can only fish for stripers, whatever. Again, I usually don't.
You just
Whatever.
fish for them.
Yeah, I just fish. So I just want to make sure that I have the water depth, you know, where I can actually troll at. GPS, everything is acting all jacked up. That's another reason I should have not went. And then the wind's just picking up. It's had to be blowing 40, 50 mile an hour. We're the only boats out there. I'm still setting lines. My boat's full of water, everything, spray coming over there. So I almost sunk that boat one time with my son. And then this is the second time he was out there with us.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised Frank goes out on it. That's why he throws bottles of water at you all the time.
He loves his dad.
He was on. That was when we were out with Frank. The rod goes off. It's Junior's turn, and he's like, "Take the rod, take the rod." And he's on. He must have been on his phone or something. And he yelled. He's like, "It's your turn. Take the rod." And he takes his water bottle, throws it at him. He's like, "I didn't want to catch a fish right now." Something like that. I mean, he definitely dropped the fuck on you on that one. Yeah, and then me and Riffy were up front. We're like, "Oh Jesus!"
All my kids caught their first fish around a year old. You know, Jackson's done caught redfish. He's done. My youngest son, he caught his biggest red I ever caught was 27 inches. His was I got tape measures all around my boat for this simple reason that when my youngest son caught his red, he hooked up jigging little 6-inch plastic out of Solomon's, and my fiance was supposed to be filming all this. So I'm all excited, right? He hooks up and he's like, "I'm hooked up," or she said he's hooked up. So I'm thinking he's snagged. So I put it, you know, I'm spot locked right on wherever the heck it was, Cedar Point, and I just look over and I see the line just come up and just take off. I'm like, "You got it." So I'm ecstatic. I know what's going on, right? And she grabs the phone. I just sit back and I can just enjoy watching him catch his fish. So the whole time, right, he comes in with a 27, or no, his was a lot bigger. Mine 35, probably red. I got it online, and from start to finish, you know, he's got his red all the way in. I get it netted. As soon as I get netted, she goes, "Oh my God, you're gonna kill me!" I didn't push record.
You can hear it in the video too.
And she said, "Good thing," because I dropped the F-bomb a couple times. You know.
Yeah.
But he got it in, man. I'm holding up his red. I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me!" So.
Bigger than Dad's.
We got a picture though, right?
Yeah, it's all.
Well, she got the end of it on video.
Oh.
She took some of it. You can hear her say
as
that.
it's netted.
Well, it was probably a GoPro because they crash all the. I got 2 running here.
Well, you have
I
one,
doubt they're still
you have
running.
One running.
Yeah. I heard a beep early on, so we'll see. Oh man, that ocean story is still wild.
I know, right?
That's a lot to wrap my mind around.
I said I would never go out in the ocean again, and I think the following week, me and him.
Have you been back out to that spot since?
No, I've been all over the ocean.
No, I mean back out to what would you call it, hot dog?
Yeah, I've been all through the hot dog.
That's where we
all
were
the
filming
canyons.
last year. Yeah.
But yeah, I go out. My buddy's cousin has a 45-foot ocean yacht that we'll go out on every year.
Well, that's probably a little more fitting than a 22-foot.
You went for
Brady.
what, 3 days last year, or 2 days?
I think we did it overnight. I think seen the biggest stingray I've ever seen because everybody's going to bed. It's like 11, 12 o'clock at night. Well,
He stayed up for 3 days fishing off the
yeah,
boat.
I'll just well, everybody's going to sleep, and we got a bunch of shark busted on the balloons because we're chunking, and the sharks are just actually playing with our balloons out there. We got our baits on, but they're like jumping over the balloons, just having a ball back there. So I was like, all right, well, there ain't nothing else biting, so I'm gonna start catching them. So that's all I did for another hour or so, just hooking up with a bunch of sharks and having fun with them. Go to sleep, wake up, come out, and I see the biggest stingray I've ever seen. It was like I think his boat's beam is 14 foot wide or something ridiculous, 16. And that thing had to have been almost as wide as that darn boat. I was like, goodness gracious. But
Imagine hooking into that stingray.
A lot of operator error that morning. We missed about 4 fish that morning.
I hooked into quite a few last year.
What, stingrays?
Yeah,
Oh.
we winged so many of them. At the end, we were just like, "Come on, just reel it in as quick as you can."
I can't stand that shit. When people, well, not
I'll fight them.
when people intentionally go after stingrays when we're fishing for cobia.
Well.
Chazzy,
He said, "I forgot what it felt like to."
dude, I've just seen too many times people get bored and they'll go after a stingray, and next thing you know, pair of cobia come up and they're hooked into a stingray. You know, you're fighting a stingray and you're like, "Fuck, motherfucker!" Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's all you can do is cut it, but.
I mean, I'll tell you what though, that was a lot of fun last year when we went and we had the redneck cobia tower up.
Yeah.
Me and Chazzy. That first day
worked.
was sketchy, but
The first day you and me went out was
Yeah,
cool,
that's right.
though. That was a great day. And that was the day that I kind of like got shell shocked, and because that huge cobia was right under the bow of the boat. I can't remember what I think I already had my line out. And then next thing I know, there's a huge cobia right in front of me. There's nothing I can do about it.
Get the
We saw
gas.
sea turtles that day, paired up with cobia. Just
so the one red, it looked like a redfish was like
I think it was a
swimming
cobia.
underneath. Was
I
it?
think it was a cobia. Like hindsight 2020, it's rare to see reds, huge bull reds by themselves, and sea turtles and cobia are always together.
Yeah.
And since then, I have mistaken reds for cobia for reds.
Yeah.
And I thought back and was like, that red on the sea turtle was probably a cobia. But that was a weird time of year though, and I'm gonna note that next year because they were like mating or something, and we saw a ton of cobia.
Yeah,
but nothing would bite.
The problem was with the way the wind was coming, and the way that the sun was. We were going up, and they were coming right towards us. So by the time we saw them, we were on top of them. We had a couple chase after them, but nothing really bit.
Yeah, no, it was. I still have a blast.
It was cool.
It's still.
It was so cool being up there, like right by the bridge, and like just acres and acres and acres of dolphin underneath the boat. Like you could see them all swimming underneath. It was so cool.
Yeah. Have you been cobia fishing yet?
One day we did down at a Point Lookout, but I can't sit up there. Like, I mean, it's so, you need a perfect day, yeah, especially where we were.
Well, you have a hummingbird, don't you?
On my boat, yeah, I'm bringing I'm taking my boat. I'll be everywhere this year.
Yeah.
My buddy Jacob said that picture. He said, "Frank, you got my TV on your helm." He's got that monster right in the middle of the boat. Yeah, so you better be using that this year, Frank.
Would you get a 19?
No, it's just a 15 or 16.
What's on the front?
All right, so I might get a 12 for the front. I mean, I got everything on there. I don't need anything else. I'm like, well,
check your weight rating for electronics.
No, I got like 4 or 5 batteries. Just I have more of everything.
Yeah,
I'm an addict. I need more.
So
more everything.
Last year, first day I caught cobia was July 3rd. Went out with the guy who sold me the boat, a guy named Paul, and we went. I don't even want to say the name. We went about halfway between Solomon's and Cape Charles. That's where we were in the bay. Nobody was catching shit that day. Just Paul just happened to be like on his shit that day, just sniping these things out. I was driving the boat. It was the first day with our redneck tower, which is a deer stand that I cut the ladder off of, taped the hell out of the little nub so I didn't cut my canvas. And next thing I hear,
It's the best.
He yells cobia, and then 2 seconds later, I'm on. And I mean, he caught high 40s cobia. I mean, 0 issues right in. And then the rest of the season was just a struggle with cobia.
Yeah.
I mean, seeing them, but they're just a very weird fish to catch.
I seen one when we did that. It was so hot up there on that up top, and I'm like, I'm done with that.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's like
I love
being in the
up
cobia
there.
tower is like that's
Yeah.
like number one to me.
Well, you took Jess and Dave out, right? You guys went out?
I took Jess and Paul.
Oh, okay. You guys caught that day.
I stayed at Dave's house. Yeah, that was July 3rd.
Yeah, okay.
And that's like all the heavy hitters were out there. They didn't catch shit. It made me feel real good that day. A lot of boats that I know can catch cobia, and they didn't see shit. And everyone at the end of the day, did you catch anything? I sure did. Yeah, I got 2. Yeah, we limited out that day. And then another cool experience is the hummingbird, finding the side scan for those cobia. It is unreal the first time you see a little pack of cobia and they actually bite. You're like, holy shit, it is cobia. And this is a whole new way to find them. Because like you said, with cobia, it's like you got to have, the stars have to align. You know, when we go on these 5-day trips, it's a wish. You know, we go down there, the wind can't be too crazy. You want a little bit of wind, actually, so that the fish come up in the rollers. Because if you have rollers, you have a moving glare, so you can see more cobia. I mean, sometimes it's nice when it's super flat, but not always. But yeah, you know, you have to have the perfect skies. You know, it can be a flat, calm day, a beautiful day, perfect temperature, and you got cloud cover all day. I've been in that situation before. And then you're sitting up in the tower and you see cobia, but you see them 5 foot from the boat, and they're spooked at that point. But what I did realize last year with those cloudy days is I was able to see cobia that had gone down from being spooked on the side scan behind me, which is really cool. I mean, that just adds a whole other aspect to cobia
You can't
fishing.
pitch back to them.
No, you can. Yeah. We weren't successful, but I saw them, and that's certainly like, you know, because a lot of times when you're cobia fishing, they're never coming from the direction you want them to come from, and you know, you're working with a fish going this way and the boat maybe going that way or whatever. So the first cast is almost never on point, and then the second and third cast. But at that point, you got 3 rods out, and then you look at the fish finder, and the fish are behind you, so you got to reel them in and then get them back to them. And the only other thing with the side scan, that it doesn't suck, it's just the way it's designed. It's like, you know, when you see someone side scan it, marks it, and it doesn't tell you which way it's swimming. You know, those cobia could have gone down and looped back in front of the boat. Who knows? But yeah, that hummingbird it's game changing. Now that I got that Minn Kota, according to what, a 36-inch Minn Kota.
I think I went off a reference in the picture.
From what I've seen, it's
I
just
did that
bigger.
because when Brad first got his, he put his wife down next to him.
Oh,
This
yeah.
was years ago.
Like a tuna pick.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah, that was definitely a changer for me, especially my new areas I'm going to.
have you caught a bull red yet?
Not big ones. I think like the only one was 27.
Yeah.
And that was Ocean City off the bridge.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm gonna call it small. I'll be ton of small ones. No
See,
bulls.
once you get into cobia and reds, it's
Well,
like
when I go to Florida in a couple weeks, it's like cobia season down there. So hopefully I might catch some down there. Other than that, I'll be heading the other way.
down south. Yeah. Now once I started diving into the cobia and red game, it's like stripers are just a passing thing until that season comes. Obviously, like I said, I live on the flats. I do love flat season here, but it's so hit or miss. I mean, last March I went out every day from, what was the tournament last year? March 1st
To the end of March, I think it was.
No, it was only a couple weeks, wasn't it?
maybe it was like a 2.5 week tournament.
Yeah,
I think
it was
we did
long.
like the 14th to the end of the month, but I was out every single day because I get off work and I just throw the boat out there, and I think we only caught like substantial amounts of fish the last 3 days of the season, and the best day we had was a day that nobody should have been out there. I mean, the flat's never really it's not dangerous, but it's not fun. I mean, it's like, you know, 2-3 foot rollers maybe, and that day was on fire, absolute fire.
Well, that day, so all the best fish I caught last year was days that we probably shouldn't have been fishing. That years before I wouldn't have been fishing. Windy days,
This
cold
is not
days.
condoning fishing in terrible conditions, Frank.
And not too windy,
Whatever.
but you know, like being out on the flats that one day you and I went out, and then we went out with Steve that one day.
Yeah, when he schooled me 11-0.
Yeah, that was.
Did you have a good day up here before that last year?
No.
Okay. Did you catch fish that day we went out with Steve?
Yeah, remember I was on the front. You were paying more attention to him than me, but I was because we were heading that place that you had never fished before. We were heading up towards the mouth of the river, and
Yeah.
I was up on the front of the boat, and I didn't catch as much as Steve, but he caught a bunch, and then like our summer just sucked. Our summer sucked. You and Harambe had that one good day. Where you just stopped out of nowhere and started catching fish all over the place.
That was
And
early though, right? And
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
over by the
early.
chop tank.
Yep. And then, the Chester.
Chester, yeah.
Yeah. And then, I think the first time I really we went with Brad that one time, trout fishing, last year when COVID first started. But other than that, I'd never really fished down in, south of like Baltimore, south of the bridge. further south than that. And man, I had some great days. I had some really good days out there. The first day, your dad, Dave, and you took us out. And
Where is this, the Honga?
yeah, we went up towards the chop tank, and he had the metal spoon on, and next thing you know, we all have metal on.
Oh yeah.
And
Dude,
that
these trips run together.
I know, and that was the first day when it was getting cold, and this was like in the span of a month. I had been out 5 times, and during that, I went out 3 times with you. I went out another time with my friend Jacob, who lives on the Eastern Shore. He's down in Florida right now. And well, they just got their cobia tower on that Seahawks that he's got too. So they just put on last Monday.
A Seahawks is pretty much my boat is a Seahawks.
I can't remember. Yeah,
it's a Seahawks mold. Paramarine also is a Seahawks.
That's what it is. Paramarine. They're not allowed to use the Seahawks name anymore, but that's what they have.
Seafox.
Right. And then I went with Brad and Steve, and that one day, and I think I outfished the whole entire boat 3-1 on that day.
Did you have a medal?
I did.
That was kind of what I took this year. One thing I learned is definitely have some medals on the boat for when they're
I
finicky.
never fished with them like that. I never fished for rockfish like that before, but I had some really good days. That last day that me, you, and who was with us that day? It was a good. Oh, your buddy from up here, the one that works for the city. The
Sean?
Yeah, Sean went with us. Yep. We had that.
Was that a good day?
Yeah, that's that. Remember that's when I caught my PB, rockfish.
Ah, yes.
And we got look.
Yes. That was at marker 72.
So
we launched at Point Lookout that day.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And we on the way out, it was windy and it's flattened down for us, and we were done. We were done for the day, and we're like, no more. We got to get back because it started getting windy. And you had somewhere to be. I think I might have had somewhere to be. Nah. And we're coming back in, and I was like, I'm always pointing. I see these birds. I'm like pointing. Like I'm sitting in the front and I just point. I'm just going like this. Matt slows the boat down and he's like, "Let's just give it a try. We'll give it one more cast." So
we did that about 10 times.
Yeah. Well, we pull up, and
just one more.
It's like it's fish breaking on the surface, and these aren't.
Oh, this was the topwater stripers.
Yes,
in December.
In December. There's fish breaking everywhere. I'm talking like acres of fish just breaking everywhere. We're the first boat there. Nobody else is around. We're catching fish, and he's like, "I'm gonna throw a topwater." They're catching them on topwater every single cast.
In December, in 50 foot of water.
These weren't. I don't think we caught a fish less than 26 inches out of this school.
Yeah, most of them were like 29, 31 ish.
Yeah,
I called my buddy who's a captain. He had a guide trip out that day, and we were calling each other back and forth because it wasn't slamming that day.
Right.
It was a good day. We had to work for it. And I called my guide buddy, and I said, "Hey, man, we're in like acres of breaking 30s right now." I'm like, "Where are you at?" And he's like, he just took a deep breath. He's like, "My clients wanted to go take pictures of the target ship." I was like, "You're too far away for that, dude." I was like, "Good luck."
I think the one I had, it was a monster. It was like it was a big fish, and right when I said, "Matt, hold my rod so I can bend down and grab the fish," and I went to grab it and it snapped, and the fish just sat there, and I grabbed the tail and it just kicked and was gone, and then I think 2 casts later I caught my PB rockfish. And
Have you been on?
These are blackback fish too. These were definitely ocean fish too. Like
that's what I'm just about to say. The ocean stripers, it's night and day.
Oh yeah.
Since this year, I'm getting more north and 100 fish days on just saltwater stripers. Yeah. I'm done. I'm not done home here, but I'm gonna start doing a little bit more traveling because
I might be up in New York with Frank next year.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going north and I'm staying north. The fish are just, even the resident fish are, averaging 30. My buddy Chris turned me on to them, and just a whole different ballpark. I mean, and I'm in an area again where I can have my smaller boat, and I can flounder, sheep's head, tog, flounder, rockfish, and it's all saltwater. So of course when season's in,
yeah, everyone else is out there.
Yeah.
Here he is.
But we're using. I'm using 9-inch flutter spoons, man, and it's just a different ball game. Big baits, big fish, and all.
So 2 hours is nothing. That's just just sparked an idea in my head.
Yeah, well,
But
I mean, we drive an hour and a half. I at least.
Fuck that! I drive 3 hours to Point Lookout.
Yeah,
I stay at a friend's house and I'm there in less than an hour.
2 hours and 15 minutes that way, and then I got to really play with the wind. And I got like a 32-gallon gas tank, so I got to carry 4 jugs with me if I'm going, south. If I want to go up to Point Lookout and I want to go, say if I do want to shoot down to Warm Water or whatever, that's a long haul in a lower boat.
Yeah.
And the wind's going to kill me. If I want to go on the other side, I'm screwed.
Well, yeah,
if the wind turns up,
yeah, exactly.
Me, I don't care, but if I can't take the family with me, I can't. It gets rough for somebody.
Yeah, it's
not like me.
It's all open water out there too. There's not really not.
Yeah, it's
a whole
the
lot
widest.
blocking
They
you.
say it's the widest. I think the widest part of the bay. And I'm stoked. I'm hooked on again meeting new people and just opening up a whole different. I love new water. I get nervous the first, but as long as I can get with somebody who knows a little bit, just get on my boat so we can go feel it out. No, I'm hooked. I mean,
this year I want to. My goal now that we're getting to my goals now. Is like.
Are you done, Frank?
Oh wait, hold on! I wasn't done yet. I was just getting started. You had your chance.
Is the like the Hanga River, all those islands like trout.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I got that trolling motor for. Because I mean, whenever I go over there, I'm very. Like I said, I'm kind of a pussy when it comes to shallow water. That's why I got the trolling motor. But I mean, you go over there, there's stump fields everywhere. I mean, it's not just sandy banks. There's jetties everywhere. I was out. Brad took it. I don't know if Brad wants me telling the story, but Brad came and picked me up from my hunt. Me and Jess took our honeymoon in St. Michael's, and Brad's wedding gift to us was he came. He launched on the west side, drove all the way over to the east side, picked us up at the dock there, and took us for like a half-day fishing trip. And I'm asking him questions. This is like when I go out with somebody in a new area, I'm not asking like fishing techniques. I'm going like, where can I fuck my boat up on? And he was like, as we're going around real slow, and he's like, you gotta be really careful. Like 100 foot that way, there's a huge jet, and before he finished jetty, we hit the jetty that he's talking about. And I was like, the fuck? And he pulls his motor up, and it looked like it was maybe a little dinged up. And if that happened to my motor, I'd have started crying.
I was about to say, for your trolling motor, make sure you just have an extra prop for it.
Well, I mean, fuck it. I mean, if
just while you're out there, you just pop it right off.
Well, I guess you can pull the trolling motor back in the boat and everything.
Spare
about that.
everything.
But I mean, that's my first question. I'm always asking is like, where's the stump fields? What can I hit? What can not only ruin my day, but ruin the season. Because these days, you fuck up your motor, you're not going to a shop and getting a new part right away. Always, things take months now. And I love having my own boat because I don't have to go piggyback on somebody else's shit. So.
Well, that's another. I talked to Jacob, he's the first mate on that spring mix. They're down in Amarada right now, and I told him about the podcast and like what you're trying to do this season, and I said, would you want to do it? He said, yeah, but we need to go on a cobia trip first. I said, I'm totally down. But he's a guy that you want. He grew up in Cambridge, fishing over on that side, so he knows all that stuff too. Everything,
that's
every
what I
little
need.
in and out.
There's a special type of person, Dave Hooker, that lives over there, and they're very weird people, but they know that area very, very well. And like I fished that tournament this year. Tangier Classic.
Yeah,
I almost lost it for a second, and dude, I got smoked.
Yeah.
And by smoked, I mean like I caught 2 fish. And I was in very fishy areas. I think I was in the Little Anamessex River. I think that's what it's called. Just hitting point to point to point. If I had my trolling motor, I'd have been fine. Because the day before, I went out and pre-fished with Brad, and we were in some sketchy stump fields. And I'm like, fuck this, I'm not taking my motor around here. Brad was in first place for most of the tournament until I think one of the local guys came and smoked him at the end. But I had 0 chance without a trolling motor over there.
Right.
0 chance.
Yep.
And day 3, I drove from, what area is that? Tangier Class. I'm trying to think what. Well, most people know where that tournament is. It's the Cambridge area. I drove all the way from there, all the way to Solomon's Island, and back. I'm like, I'm gonna just hit my cobia spots, like hoping for a big fish, and still nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's another. He's got another story, like the overnight. Jacob, him and his friends would go out, and they'd go out at night. And one night, they got on some fish, and he's like, "Fuck it, they know where we are. If they want to come find us, they know where to come find us." And
Who's they?
Him and his buddies would go out. Like they grew up fishing down there, you know. That's what else did they have to do?
Yeah,
was build diesel trucks and go fishing, and that's what they did. And he first time when we started talking about Chesapeake Bay fishing when I was out in the ocean with him, that was the story that he told me was, you know, he's like, yeah, my mom ended up calling the Coast Guard because we didn't come home one night, and he said he answered the phone and he was on a fish and he's like, Mom, I ain't coming home. Like that's just the way it is, and they were on some reds that night. And
yeah. A lot of guys will go out there and soak bait overnight and get reds early in the season.
Yeah.
Like way earlier than you'd think. And I mean, I think there are some bigger reds that stay around later. I don't know. Maybe it was a fluke. Pete caught a red in like November.
Oh yeah.
It was either a red or a cobia. I want to say it was a big bull red.
Yeah.
Like in November, and I was like, "What the fuck? Like that's insane."
Yeah, he
The
went
water's
out.
way too cold in November.
I think it was one day we were actually out fishing, and Jacob was sending me pictures, and they were in a certain area, and they had speckled trout, like all like left and right, just 15 pictures. He's just sending me all these pictures.
Yeah,
and that was one of those cold days that we were out fishing too.
Well, oh really?
Yeah, and they were like
They must have been down south.
where I caught mine.
Oh,
And they were just. It was like
yeah.
It was like over and over. Like he's like they're still around.
Yeah.
But he was leaving like 2 days later to go down to Florida, so that was kind of his last trip before he went down. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this year.
30 degrees in the Everglades.
Yeah, I know, right?
Is it 30 degrees there right now?
No, when we went down it was the coldest. That was the first time around.
Well,
right?
look, it got cold this year. I'm just glad we weren't down a couple weeks ago. Ricky called me, and Ricky was not very happy because he had just left Baltimore to go back home, and it's in the 30s at Big Pine Key. He said it was miserable.
It was bad.
What sucks is, you know, when I'm not a scientist, I'm not a marine biologist, but you know, these cold winters are normal. But at the same time, you know, like speckled trout and cobia, it's not that normal that they come far up in the bay. And we've had a couple warm winters, and I'm hoping that this cold that we're seeing this year doesn't have a big trout kill. You know, it's because the trout aren't here. They go down to the Carolinas and hang out there. But if it's cold there, they die off. I mean, if they can't get out, if it's too quick of a snap, you know, there's these big trout kills, and then we don't see them here because they don't live here. They die.
Yeah, we got worn out on the on the trout that
Oh yeah,
our Florida trip.
that was when I caught my first speckled trout. We were in the Everglades.
You're just getting trout after trout after
Yeah,
trout.
it's
Every
and we're using
cast.
popping corks, and it's every cast or the ladyfish, which are I think they're more fun to catch than the trout. They call, what do you call them? The poor man's tarpon, something like that. They're
Well,
just jumping all over the place.
The thing I like about trout in Maryland, it's just a very delicate bite. You have to be. It's actually skill to catch those. It's not like you can't just take anybody out and just because they're not there in numbers, and the ones that are there, you know, it's a different type of jigging.
Yeah.
You're not getting out there and just yanking on it. It's
Yep.
very.
we got spoiled. We were definitely spoiled on that one.
I mean, I think I was tangled up around my line, and I was like trying to get my hook off my line, and they were biting. It just wasn't even fair.
Hundreds of them. I mean, all the trips were just bad until we got on the goat, until we got off that headboat. Spend a ton of money on all the charters, and then when we go to the headboat, all the other ones were just a bust. It was freezing cold. I'm wearing. I think I had my Gore-Tex suit on in the Everglades.
Yeah, but you're already down there. You got to go. You know?
He comes back. We go to the hotel in Key West. I'm like, you guys can do whatever you want. I need to take a break, and I sat in the room for a little bit. He comes back and he's like, well, we found the boat we're going out on. I said, really? It's like, there's this rust bucket around the corner called the Salty Goat. I was like,
Salty Goat.
all right, we'll give it a try. And we go out, and like he just spot after spot, we're just on fish, constantly catching fish.
You got a couple
the whole
of your
time.
bucket list fish.
Yeah, I knocked a whole bunch off. We talked about last time I was on. I knocked off a ton of fish off of that. You know, that was fun. It's like fishing in an aquarium. Some of the fish you're pulling out of there.
We met a guy down there that's from Pennsylvania. We were just bull crapping with whoever, and this guy John, He's from Pennsylvania. So I end up, we meet him down there for, I think, did he fish 2 days with
He
us?
fished the second day, yeah.
Fished 2 days, and then I meet him when I'm down here, and he actually brought me on a trip, my new spots, and that's what turned me on about that, because, I said I didn't want to do any trolling, and it was all jigging, flutter spoons, and then it went to the trolling, and then when we would stop, after we bring our fish in, I'm chucking out, and I'm catching these fish, and the captain's like, pack it up, that's it, because we limited out. I said, well, I'm not keeping any fish, so that means we don't limit out. We keep fishing. And no, and
Well, that's those boats. That's how they get.
Well, it was supposed to be a different thing, and
Yeah.
we got kind of screwed on that. But on the way back in, we're seeing football fields full of just birds, everything busting, everything. It looks beautiful. And I'm telling the captain, we ain't gonna stop and hit any of this, because really, you just drop me off. I'm like, it really was gonna come back.
I've stayed out on the ocean before for 3 days.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be fine.
Well, I was going to come back in, come home, and then go back down. But then I ended up meeting a new buddy, Chris, and he dialed me into a total different. Again, people that got, especially when we have boats. Some people can go further, some people go shorter, some people can't go where I go. They would go with me. And I'll always put it out there. I don't want any money. Just show up. If I post on Facebook the night before, if you can make it, by all means, come on, let's roll. If not, I'm gonna go by myself anyway. I'm going.
Well, the guy John that he's talking about that we met, he might be going with Frank. Like they kept this relationship again through fishing. We met him out on the boat, and he's gone up there, and he's talking about going down to Florida with Frank in a couple weeks. So
well, I meet this guy. We meet him down there, and then I fish with him up here. Then we did a tog trip.
Yep.
And just amazing dude. Where he's got a house in Ocean City, and knowing a knucklehead that I used to be, he gives me keys to his house. I just met him in Florida, and thanks,
he
John.
doesn't know what he did.
Yeah, no. I respect anybody's stuff. And he has a boat out back. He's like, you want the boat? Take the boat too. I don't, whatever.
I would never do that.
No,
not with you. I'm not saying with you.
I'm not
going with anybody. I don't just.
You're not giving me your keys.
No.
Nobody's getting. You can go. We can go. I don't even like anybody starting my boat up or pull.
No.
You ain't pulling it up.
Wait,
because the truth is, no one
pole starting it.
You can pull stuff.
Yeah, you had all of us.
Oh, you're talking about the kicker.
Yeah. No one's gonna have the same.
I have
respect
3
for your
motors on my boat
that the owner has.
Oh yeah, I know.
There's 0 chance of that.
It's the same thing with your business. Nobody will take care of your business.
It's like if somebody hits a stump with your boat, they're gonna be like,
"Oh man,
it sucks. I feel bad." I'll be like, "You don't feel as bad as me right now. I don't care what you fucking say."
Come back and lower units gone. At least I found it.
Yeah. All right, boys. Well, I gotta pee. Do we got any closing comments? Are we going to get tacos?
Yeah, I think.
Are we gonna talk? Yeah. Now,
See.
Hola.
Yes, I would like some tacos.
Senor.
Say there's a killer taco joint. Right
No
down
cerveza.
I didn't get tacos last time.
Where are we getting tacos at?
Right down the
taco
street.
joint, like
Really?
two
Surprise,
minutes
Frank. We're going to get
Cheese and
tacos.
crackers. I brought Reese cups. I didn't even get a chance to eat that.
all right, guys. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on for episode 1. I'm gonna try to do. I don't know.
We're done already. I got.
Dude, it's been 2.5 hours.
Has it
Really?
Yes.
That was just him talking.
Look at the camera battery.
That's
Oh,
all right. I got some more. We can go get me. Walmart's open.
Well, we'll have to get.
No,
you back on
actually,
for
we need to
episode
load
2.
that boat up and go.
That's why he wanted to bring his fishing rods.
Anytime.
I don't have an icebreaker boat.
Cheese and crackers. I need to fish. This is too much talking about fishing. I need to just. I went to the Cabela's the other day. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I gotta just
Spent like $5,000 in the last 2 weeks on fishing. I mean, $500.
Hey, it's not. Hey,
We can edit that out,
You
Frank.
live one. No, you ain't gotta edit it out. It's all good. The old lady knows how much I spend. God knows how much I spend. It's
I
not
saw
mine
that nice.
anyway.
I saw that nice bag you got her. Makes up for it.
That's a hell of an
2 bags.
excuse
It
for the
balances
wife.
out.
2 bags.
It balances out. You get her
You
a
spent
couple
$5
bags.
grand. It's not my
That's
money.
what
It's God's money.
I love you, honey.
No, I spent 10 grand of God's money.
Well, what I did, because I told her, I said, you smaller trips, I try to schedule during the week, so it's like it doesn't take away from weekend family time and stuff. But when I do bigger trips, I discuss it, and I'd like to go fishing this time frame. She goes, but just buy me some gifts. Like,
Deal.
Yeah.
what do you want?
Here's the funny thing is I was at my job. He came by my job to walk through it. And he said, he's like, I'm thinking about going to Florida like in a couple weeks. And as I'm talking to him, I turn around. He's on his phone. He's like, just booked it. He goes, maybe I might want to tell Jen about it. I'm like, yeah, you might want to tell her about it.
I'm the same way though. I book it and then I'll tell Jess.
Well, I didn't book it fully. It hit me in the morning. I'm like, I'm done with the cold. I need to get out. And I haven't fished in like 2 weeks. So it's like, go to Florida. You know, and then every time I book a trip to Florida, why didn't I go to like where Danny's at, Costa Rica or Cozumel or somewhere
You better
different?
take her to Florida soon.
She don't like flying. Well, I told her, I said, you drive down, I'll fly down. Just meet me down there. She don't like that idea.
We're running out of everything here. It's
I
yelling
was
at
gonna
us.
say, who knows if I have GoPros left?
Look at my
they-
hair.
If
I
they've
didn't
blown
even-
up.
That one's
Are you
still
kidding
working.
me? I
Yeah,
didn't,
you
you
didn't
didn't
do
even
your
tell me
hair
my
that
hair
time.
was a freaking hot mess.
Well, it's the glare.
It's the.
All right, boys. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Jesus.
Don't get old.
Dude, time flies when you're doing podcasts. Look, dude, literally, as we...
God gave us exactly what we needed. Oh my God, we are getting tacos.
Yep.
I'm down with that.
I hope
just
so
got-
because
it's
you're in my truck.
It's a badass taco joint. It's worth going.
Cheese and crackers. I gotta pee.
Dude, I got to feel the mother.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, me too.
You want to...